welcome all who have joined this webinar. My name is Mush, and I am from the School of Technology for the Arts, Republic Poly. So, what is extended reality, and why should you care? Extended reality is an artificial digital environment that can completely replace real environments. Have a look at this. I'm standing here in Studio One, right? Republic Polytechnic, with nothing but the green screen behind me. And with the magic of XR, I'm teleported to this lovely set. Extended reality is here to stay. Now, where can it take you? Our key presenters today are from WIR Group Jakarta and Ox Media Group. And they are the leaders in this field of extended reality. They have explored the use of AR, VR, XR in training, games, and the world of entertainment, working with clients such as International SOS, jazz artist Jeremy Montero, Slush Helsinki Tokyo, Samsung, the World Economic Forum, and mega K-pop company SM Entertainment, just to name a few. Some of you may already be familiar with aspects of XR such as augmented reality, the layers of information that we put on top of the real world, changing the way we interact with others and immerse ourselves in new experiences. Our guests from WIR in Jakarta, Jeffrey Budiman and Yasha Chatab, have been working with this technology. Let's have them take us through some of their exciting work.
Okay, thank you so much once again for the opportunity given to us, especially in this case, Republic Polytechnic, to allow us to share how, in this case, augmented reality can be used in various commercial scenarios across all the different sectors. Allow us to introduce ourselves. My name is Jeffrey Budiman. I am the CEO of WIR Group, and together with me is Yasha, which is our Overseas Development Director of WIR Group.
Hi guys.
So if you ask us why actually we believe in this technology of augmented reality, augmented reality itself already considered as one technology with a lot of potentials in the near future, especially now with the pandemic, with the current 5G connectivity, there are more possibilities of how we can use this tech to enhance interactivity. Like, just one example that we are going to show you right now. This is just one solution that we have, to allow people to interact directly using their webcam. In this case, just one example that we have for language training schools, the teacher actually explaining to the kids just using the webcam directly. Or we also have another examples that we use for motorbike manufacturer, that they can use this directly in, using Zoom or Google Meet or those other well-known social video conferencing platform to show how it looks like. So this is just one example, how we need to keep innovating, using augmented reality that are actually applicable today, answering various challenges. Especially now, even with the concept of metaverse actually becoming more popular as well. It is about an alternate 3D shared space, allowing people to interact both not only the real life contents, but also the future content surrounding us. So this is just one example. It all started. We also expose ourselves with a lot of this technology. Like this AR glasses from Epson, for example, or like the bigger one here. This is actually because it's using transparent display. So you can imagine in the next upcoming years, in this case, you will be able to interact with all these future contents overlaying your real world. So, but before that, it all started with something. So allow us to share a bit about where and our journey up to these points. And let me now share the slides. So allow us to share that, some history about us. We was established in 2009, specializing in augmented reality technology. Actually, now we also own 5 global PCT patents as well. Not only that, it allows us to have some production across more than 100 plus countries. It also gives us, more opportunity to share our projects worldwide. We also have developed a strong portfolio of projects deployed to all these countries as well, thus making us one of the key industry players, especially even in the Southeast Asia region. We are headquartered in Jakarta, Indonesia, and we also won a number of awards. These are some of the highlights. For example, we have won 2 years in a row during the Augmented World Expo event in 2015 and 2016 in Silicon Valley, USA. And recently, in 2019 and 2020, we have been asked to represent Indonesia by our government, during the World Economic Forum in Davos, to showcase our technology. Okay, now let us now start sharing slide. I think now Yasha has already prepared himself to show more demo to you guys.
Let's get to it. This is augmented reality, and we start with this one. So these are playing cards, not really playing cards, but collectible cards that we worked on for a vitamin brand about 10 years ago. Come. So first, this is the monster character that we have, and this is the Space Ranger. And we have pre-programmed that the two will fight and with a certain outcome. Of course, we can pre-program it in a different way, but then we just want to show commercial use of augmented reality from about 10, 11 years ago that we've done before. As you can see here, unfortunately, the monster dies. All right, so we move on to the next one. This is for a property company that was based in Malaysia. So this is a Kuala Lumpur, a KL-based property. Well, this is also an application, come here. Application that's also very suitable right now because more and more people choose to stay at home and not going around, especially when there's a lockdown going. But property business needs to keep on going, right? So aside from appearing as augmented reality, we can tap on it, and now we go into virtual reality mode, in which we go inside the units of the property. We can see so many details, as well as going to different floors and exploring different rooms. So it's just exciting stuff. Again, very applicable for the pandemic and whatever world that we're living in right now. Next one is for so this is for an educational purpose, in which we have some demo here using our past presidents. This is for first President Sukarno. And this is for President Gus Dur. And this also tracks our current president, President Joko Widodo, or as we call here, President Jokowi. So it's very exciting stuff. This is for educational purpose. So let me move on to the next one. So this is a card. This is our collaboration for Mind Stores, also using AR for commercial use, to increase commerce, because the internet penetration in Indonesia is not yet that vast, but people want to do e-commerce. So what happened is we have an augmented reality charge card here, and everybody is able to create their own store. So we work together with Alfamart, the largest retailer in Indonesia. Alfa is like 7-Eleven in Indonesia, but has more than 10,000 stores all over Indonesia. If you tap on the store, we go into VR mode. Go into VR mode. There you go. It's loading a bit. So as you see, this is a virtual reality type store, in which you can go around. This is the reception, and you can buy different things such as home decoration. All right, you want to buy a lamp? You can. So again, this is our strategy to use augmented reality and virtual reality to empower people, to get them going and try to make money for people, especially in the rural areas. Because again, internet connection in Indonesia, not that great, not that spread out all over Indonesia. So now we move on to this one. So this one is for souvenir purposes, as you can see here. So we have a shirt. So the shirt is a souvenir. So there's a lot of spots for tourism and merchandising. So augmented reality coming from the shirt. So this can be any souvenir, and we can also update the content every time. So it's just very easy. Okay, if I tap it, it's gonna get mad. But if I kind of touch it gently, oh, that's not so gently. But if I touch it gently, it's gonna fall asleep. Oh. Oh, look at that, so cute. All right, now we move on to that device, because that's something else that we do again, because of the issue that not every part of Indonesia is connected with high-speed internet. Not everybody has the money to get the quota. Please.
We basically put this kiosk in Alfamart and a few other places as well. So it allows brands to actually not only they can put ads, but they can also encourage transactions over here as well. So people can simply go here and they can buy stuff. But what is interesting here is the capacity to actually brands to increase interactions at the offline retail spaces. So as you can see, this is just one example. So the brands can actually use their packagings to actually allow interactions. So all you have to do, just in this case, this brand have some kind of a competition. They can simply use this to activate the campaign. The icon is coming up. And then in this case, they have a photo and video competition. Then you just join the video competitions solo. And I just need to take photos first. And then here I can become their mascot. And of course, you can choose the background. And then here, I can compete and hopefully I can win prizes. So this kind of thing, making the brands, allow the brands to actually have interactions at a lot of all these retail spaces. So now, let us go back to the presentations and let us continue with our last video to conclude our presentations. Okay.
Augmented reality is indeed the future.
I did not know that this is applicable today.
Such for users, why not also be the ones to develop it?
Their solutions are highly relevant to the market.
It is no longer conceptual. The future is today.
They are the market leader, set to explode global interest in this space.
Nigeria's presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari used this app to attract young voters.
I think they will shape the future.
For the first time ever, AR plays a role so significant, no longer a gimmick.
The biggest challenge for AR is really not taking it that high and really to see all the opportunity that are available in the market.
Many can start their own business.
Now they have more incomes to support the family.
So small investments to be store owner. Unbelievable.
Now, we have more incomes to support the family.
This really disrupts marketing and redefine
real time. Well, that would be augmented reality of today.
So people can really use it and experience it.
By empowering women in emerging markets,
this is about investing in the futures of an often ignored and overlooked population.
Women in less developed
regions. Near and dear to my heart is able to make its mark
really
on a global
the landscape
scale.
of media placement industry.
With DAF, every investment on media can be measured.
Unlimited content and imagination.
This is a real game changer.
Brands can
reconnect with consumers
in a new and more meaningful
way. The technology will be able to get the maximum level of the value.
Yeah, that's the easier way for the consumer to experience augmented reality.
Across industries, DMID shall provide full support for marketing through strategic solutions.
AR & Co. and we want to be part of the one that shapes the future lifestyle of humans.
AR & Co. won Best Campaign for this app, the Augmented World Expo or Augie Awards in Silicon Valley.
By doing that, we actually create a legacy through the technology.
Because we want to make augmented reality
an actual reality for the world.
This is the era of digital reality.
Thank you, Jeff and Yasha, for letting us see how AR has found its way into how we engage our customers and students alike. You know, all this magic would not have been possible without the creative team over at Ox Media. So let me introduce now Choong Chyi, CEO Ox Media. We have also signed an MOU with Ox Media to open up opportunities for our students to learn from industry leaders such as Ox. So how about taking us around your studio for a look at the technology and all that you do?
Sure, Mash. Thank you so much for teleporting in from RP. As you can see, she's actually not here with me. She's actually in the green screen, as you saw earlier, over in the studio in Rapid Poly. And yes, thank you for having us as well. And we are happy to have signed an MOU to boost the industry and growing the talents for extended reality and Unreal content development and notch development as well. So very quick introduction for myself. Hi, I'm Chyi, or CK for short. Welcome to Ox Media. We have been hosting physical events, going to auditoriums, ballrooms, large exhibition halls, concerts for thousands and thousands of people for the last 20 years. But as you all know, the current pandemic has restricted our air travel, our big gatherings. In fact, working from home has become very much the default work mode. I know all of you online are probably online fatigued, and so am I. So while we are waiting for this pandemic to be over so that we can have our mega events again, the truth is that hybrid events will be here to stay in the long run. Hybrid events will combine both in-person and virtual experience, offering the best of both worlds. So the question now is, for the audiences watching at home, how do we increase your engagement level and how do we maximize impact through your screen? So this is where we are welcome to the Ox Immersive Studios. If you can see here where we are right now, this is where we are in the studio, powered by these guys, Unreal, tracking, red cameras, and many, many more other technologies that is integrated within our studios to deliver this immersive experience to you. We have the ability to cut from one stage to another with just a tap of a button. This is how flexible our system and our studio is. As you can see, immediately the studio has changed to another location that I'm at right now. So right now, instead of the previous office studio, right now I'm standing in the empty warehouse space. And what is different from a green screen is that I can exactly see where I am going to be moving around. I can be moving on this tile. And I know for sure, because here in the LED wall itself, I know the boundaries of where I should be stepping. I will step to the edge of this because I know exactly where to see it on the LED wall. So that is the cool thing, and the environment of where I'm able to interact with it. So for example, right now, if I'm going to move towards the green car of what you see, I can move towards here because I can see where it's supposed to be. And the white line over here of where I'm going to step right here next to it, this is where I can see exactly of where is my limit of where I should be stepping towards. So these are how interactive the environment is for both the presenter as well as for the creative directors watching live on the final program output. And all this is made possible with the help of Unreal and Notch, where all these 3D sets are built, and the cameras with the real tracking, they are able to pan and move in the real time as compared to previous kind of production workflow itself. From the ray of the sunlight to the animation of the trees you see behind me, all this can be done or created. Basically, the limit is your imagination. So now, let's move back from this outdoor set and back to the conference setting, if you may. So the conference setting, that is what you have seen earlier itself, we can make it more engaging and lively through 3D charts, graph, presenting data through the augmented reality, as per demonstrated by WR earlier, are ways whereby we can combine different technologies together to create greater impact and spice up the presentation. So XR is just the platform on which we create the whole environment for you. There are many, many other technologies that we can combine in to make it more intuitive and effortless to work once you have experienced it for yourself. And we have been doing this for more than 1 year already, and we're working with a lot of content partners to create all these elements to you. So in our studio, it's not just one technology that we are presenting over to you. There are many, many other technologies that we are creating it over for you. So now, while you can see that I seem to be set in a studio with a very high ceiling, but actual fact is not. So when I turn off the step extension for you, you'll be able to see that I'm actually in a physical LED wall area. This is the whole setup you can see. And now here, this is my physical environment. This is only a 6 meter by 6 meter LED wall. Let me walk to the edge. And this is the edge. And you can see right now behind me, my guys are doing the setup, and we have the green screen over there. Here is actually our main control room, which houses the brain of our operations. This is where the disguise servers, the Unreal machines are all at. And over there, you can see my camera directors doing the cues and the cuts over there as we prepare for the next segment. So if the cameras will cut back to me itself, I think we'll be ready to bring back our MC much back on set for the entire teleportation. Teleportation is quite cool because of the fact that a lot of our guests, sometimes they are overseas, so they cannot they cannot come to the studios or they cannot be here physically. And more importantly, I think for the organizers is during these times, the teleportation actually helps to manage costs by cutting down on airfare, accommodations, and other aspects of the organization, which we can't do right now simply because of the pandemic itself. So these are how XR and, in fact, virtual productions can help us during this time in creating more interactive and immersive environment for everybody. So maybe, Marsh, you're coming back. We'll take a seat and join my other panelists here.
Thank you, Chyi, for taking us on a virtual tour of Ox Media. We truly look forward to more collaborations between STA, Republic Poly, and Ox Media in the space. We will now move on to our next segment, the panel discussion, where we've invited 2 industry practitioners to join our presenters right here at the studio. Our moderator is Desmond Hinkson, who's a veteran games designer and senior lecturer with Republic Poly. He brings 16 years of international experience creating some award-winning games to his current mission, and that is to create Singapore's next generation of game designers. Desmond, over to you.
Thank you, Mush, and welcome to our panelists here. We have Chyi and Jake and Casie here with us, and virtually we also have joining us from Jakarta, Jeffrey and Yasha. I'd like to have some questions from the audience, but we can save that to later on. We've got some time at the end of the panel. If you can put your questions into the chat, we can have a look at those at the end of the discussion. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
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 Hi. Thank you for inviting us to this fantastic space you have here. It's quite interesting to see all the magic and what's happening behind the scenes. And I must say that actually I think there's more magic behind the scenes than what we're seeing on screen. I'd like to start off the discussion just asking in general, what was the catalyst for each of you that brought you into the XR space?
Me first?
Sure.
I think it was really because we were doing live events. We were doing concerts in Marina Bay Area. We were doing night festivals. We were doing massive events. And when the pandemic occurred, everything was just locked down. We can't do anything. In fact, just now earlier, when you were in the green room, that tiny little space was where we actually did the demos, and we tried out for a couple of months, and we realized that there's potential for this XR to grow, because essentially with a limited space as where we are right now, we can actually build huge stage and bring the audiences, whether they are online or whether they are live here in the studios, into this world that they wouldn't have imagined that it could be. And it's also because of the advancements of the hardware, like the gaming engine and even Unreal itself, the capability to create all this photorealism kind of environment that spearheaded the whole technology advancement, and which is why I would say we took a calculated risk to do this, and I would say that it's panning out quite well for us because a lot more and more people are coming in. And I think more importantly, maybe we'll touch on this later on, is actually for the audiences, for the presenters on stage. We have come over here, you can see how is it that you can actually interact with the people around you, you know where to move around, you know where is the limitations. I think that's the interesting part that we're doing right now.
Absolutely. Casie?
Okay. I guess mine's totally completely different. I come from a non-technology background as a gymnastics coach. And I realized that I wanted to learn something new. Being in Asia, seeing all this technology around me, I wanted to learn how it worked and how technology is shaping the world, and also eventually become a shapeshifter. And when I started, I actually worked in marketing and found myself working in a VR startup in the middle of a crypto blockchain company, a massive one. And all of a sudden, I'm putting a toaster on my head. From then on, it's been, this has been the direction that I've gone in. My mom still thinks I walk around with a toaster at work. But my journey has weaved into augmented reality, back into virtual reality, and now working in AR hardware. So very interesting. There's a massive space, and I can't wait for everybody to hear more about it.
Thanks. Jake?
Hi. So for me, I started off as a film major, doing actually at Republic Poly. So I was in DNM, which is Diploma in New Media, but I think it's now called Media Production and Design.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was there doing more film, and then I shifted a little bit into advertising, more transmedia type of things. So I went to Army. After Army, I pursued my degree in fine art, but majoring in interactive media. So I actually went to university to do film, but I felt like maybe film was slightly of a restrictive medium, whereas like in interactive media, we learned coding and we would do 2-channel films and whatnot. And that sort of like spurred me into going into doing a VR film in MRT. So that I did like this zombie, I guess, school project. And then that spurred into an AR app that I did in year 2. And at that point, I guess AR was still in its infancy stages where everything was like on Unity and Vuforia. So everything was, you gotta be a little bit hacky to get things to work. And then I guess I also met Casie from the Spark AR space when Instagram started to get into the space. And from there, I started my own company after graduation. So now we're focusing on AR, but we're planning on pivoting into more extended reality things. So we just did like extended reality set, something like this, but not as high scale for Mobile Legends. Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, you've all come from very diverse backgrounds. I think maybe a lot of people 5-7 years ago, you may not have guessed that you'd be in this space. What kind of skills did you have to take on to really take advantage of this opportunity?
For me, I think it's really something totally new. Basically, we had to rethink our entire workflow. In fact, we did not have any Unreal artists or content creator of that nature. We really had to learn from scratch. Even this entire XR workflow is totally new. In fact, it's so new that we literally had to just try out ourselves every day and learn new things. Even today, tomorrow, and forward, I think there's a lot to share together with you as well, to learn from your perspective about what are the different things that I can use into the system. Like what I mentioned earlier, the workflow by disguise is just the extended reality workflow. We can bring AR, we can bring other elements, we can bring a lot of tons of other technology that's always constantly evolving. So to me, that's why it's very good that we have an MOU with RP, because then we can also work with them to train the next batch of students coming in, showing them this is where the industry is moving. But by the time they graduated, the technology probably will be 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. But at least it's a start. What we're trying to do here is try to build up the content people itself, because that is what we feel is lacking right now. Because the technology is just changing. In fact, I think it's the pandemic that actually forced everybody to change. We always say that if we have told our clients to say, hey, let's go virtual, I think 99% the answer would be no. Nobody would. In fact, so basically this whole pandemic has really pushed forward everybody to go and look into this technology in terms of AR, VR, XR itself. So I think it's good, because I think it's something that will be in the next 10, 20 years that's to come.
Yeah. I think I'm going to echo what you said about the learning. I wouldn't say there's one skill. I would say it's the enthusiasm and the insane curiosity that you have to figure things out, because that's what everybody's trying to do. We're trying to figure it out. And I guess like one of the skill sets that is definitely needed in this space is collaboration. Being able to work with people that are outside of your organization. I'm working on a project right now where we have 8 different stakeholders just to build one little thing. So that is one of the major skill sets, but it's that curiosity and trying to think of, hey, is this going to work? What about if we do this? What if we do that? You know, failing is part of that. A part of this journey, but keeping that curiosity out there is probably the best thing that you could hold within you as you go on this journey.
I guess echoing again, but I guess a different perspective would be that I'm an artist and a programmer, so that, I guess the difference would be that there is this level of technicality that we must like learn, and because software is moving so quickly, like we barely learned Unreal 4.26. Now it's like Unreal 5, you know, and that baffles my mind that we have to work, sort of like learn a whole new different set of like ways that we are working around that software. So yeah, I guess technical wise and also like business wise as well, because like things are evolving so quickly. I guess there's also this aspect of like how can we adapt for, like in this case, the pandemic. And I guess one more technical thing is like I guess nobody has really figured out how to do extended reality UI UX properly. And that's one area within our company that we are constantly trying to like improve, because user interaction is so important. Yeah.
Perhaps we could hear from Jeffrey and Yasha. Can you tell us about the experimental journey you've been on and how you needed to reach out and create relationships and network to be able to expand your influence to the global market as you have?
You want to answer that? Yeah, okay. So basically, if I share a bit about the maybe the journey from the very beginning of the company, right? What needs to be done, for us to, to have like global clients, etc., etc. So basically, we started since the very beginning. It's like it was in 2009, right? It was the day where not many people know about AR. There's no such thing as AR core, AR kit. Like I don't think Pokemon Go is there yet. So it was also a challenge for us to educate what kind of animal is augmented reality itself. Some people thought that we are actually a public accountant company, account receivables and stuff like that. So we try to educate one by one. We do a bit of showcase how it can be done, etc., etc. And it was the time that everything is a bit more challenging because internet speed was not as good as now. Especially now with the upcoming 5G connections, you can imagine what kind of possibilities that we can do with augmented reality, right? And then, at the time also the capacity of our mobile phone was not as great as well. So it's still fairly limited. So most of the time you need to use like a desktop really just to show one AR content. So we have gone through all that kind of hassles, and now we slowly develop all the different solutions. I agree with one of the panelists say it's all about trying out new stuff. We always got new challenges from our clients, and then from there we need to spot the right talent as well. The talent that really want to try out new stuff. They may not have the right skill set as yet, because at the time, computer vision is not really the thing that they can learn at schools. So it's the thing that they learn based on passions and the just to keep just big curiosities of what can be done with all these machine learning capacities. So and then from there we keep developing new solutions. Some of them even have been patented, and then from there we keep posting all these different documentations to our social media channels, YouTube channels, etc. And from there, actually, it's been spotted by a lot of clients around the world. So that's where our journey for our global exposures began. They spot us, they test our our technologies, and then it basically proved to be effective for them, like the one that we did. I think we also done one of the very first use case of augmented reality books in Europe for this big publishing company in Spain, and it managed to increase their sales. Also with our client in Vietnam, which is Dutch lady, and it managed to increase their sales up to 19%. And then the way we do it, every client, sometimes they do not know how we can stretch out this technology, how we can utilize this technology yet. So we will come up with all these initial ideas first, usually, and then we sit down with them and then talk about all the different ideas with them, come up with a solution, and then we deploy the applications. You want to add some more, Yasha? Please do.
Yeah, and we also work with the Indonesian government that also help us help promote us into the international stage as well, right? And I think we have benefited from that as well. So it's about collaboration and partnership as well with just different parties.
So were you saying that the government agencies really helped you to not have to go and knock on doors so much, or did you guys? I mean, to talk Yasha or the panelists here. Is it knocking on doors and beating the pavement? How are you getting people to know that you do what you do? And with, we've mentioned things like XR and computer vision and 5G networks and machine learning, things changing so quickly. How do you get your clients to understand what it is you do? So attracting clients and getting them to understand what it is you do. Tell me a bit about the problems or the opportunities you face there.
Maybe for WR to speak about it.
Perhaps Yasha and Jeffrey, you'd like to start off?
Yeah, I mean, we need to understand first what is their objectives really, because if you just talk to them about augmented reality, you know, when we talk to clients, sometimes it's best for us to demo directly. Even until now, you know, when we talk about 5G, machine learning, big data, even for when we talk about blockchain technology, for example, some people always stuck in the idea of blockchain equals to cryptocurrencies only. That, you know, there are a lot of other things that we can do with blockchain even, right? And it's the same with extended reality. So sometimes we just need to sit down and then we demo a few things. We do a few things to them. We do a big some of the demos, and then they understand how it works. And then we also try to manage their expectations as well. Yeah, because some of our clients, maybe they you know, maybe due to some movies, you know, that they watched previously, they have some kind of expectation of this can be done, right? Like what some superheroes do, you know, all the holographic stuff just appearing in front of you. Then we need to set the expectations with them, what can be done. We need to understand as well how it can effectively approach their targeted audience too, you know, like especially the one in Indonesia, like we did mention previously, like not many people even outside Jakarta have the advantage or even have a decent phone to even experience augmented reality. So we need to understand all those little stuff, and then from there we try to convince them that, you know, with augmented reality, it will make the whole experience more seamless, more you know, more effective, more impactful, etc., etc.
Thank you. Perhaps one of the panelists here would like to respond to that question.
Sure, yeah. So I've been working with the IMDA here in Singapore. They have a 5G Singapore grant that's a $30 million fund to help commercialize AR and VR projects. So that is pretty amazing for the government to be so supportive of our industry. And so far we have a couple of projects that are going through that pipeline. What I realized, because during my own fundraising experience with my company, there's also other countries, like I'm also working in Belgium for R&D efforts for the projects that we're doing. So the governments around the globe understand that there is a need for these projects. And so it really just takes taking and looking out there to see what type of funding that you can get outside of an investor saying, hey, yes, I trust that you're going to give me my money back times 10. So yeah, if you want to build something, you have an idea and you think you can commercialize it, you may be able to find a test bed for that somewhere around the globe.
Thank you. Jake?
Right now for us, we are still quite a young company, so we tried knocking on doors for certain projects, but I feel like people in the marketing industry, if they understand AR and they have like they already are convinced themselves of the technology and how powerful the technology is, when they approach us to talk about it, it's a a lot more of an easier experience for us. They already understand like, oh, this is how we are going to, we are maybe reaching the awareness part of marketing, and maybe this is not really too much on conversion. So they already set their expectations for themselves. So for us, it's, and as I think the WIR group was mentioning, it was really about objectives. Some of them really want to flip their conversion, I guess, into sales. So in this case, sometimes we need to tweak our AR projects for these clients as well. So I guess it's easier when clients approach us. Yeah.
I think for us, it's a mix of both. Because XR is such a new platform or industries, it's hard to convince by even telling you right now through the Zoom platform. You probably understand half of it. We see a lot of links online. You can see Disney Plus, Mandalorian using this LED technology. And I think that is how actually everything came about. Using the advancement of technology, LED technology itself, we can create all these realistic world that we can immerse ourselves in. The humans can be inside there. There is such that it's things that's not done before. And so therefore, the entire workflow is totally different. And that is where I think, as what Deborah mentioned before, so it's also to understand where the client objective is and how can we use this technology to achieve the objective. The technology is just technology, but we can infuse other technology from AR elements. In fact, one of the things that I mentioned earlier in my presentation is that in the physical environment, like ballrooms or even venues, it's so hard to get fireworks in or pyrotechnics for that wow effect. Yeah. But right now in this virtual world, we can have fireworks as many times as you want without even increasing a single cent for your audience itself. So those are the things, and it's not just the fireworks, it's the sound effects, it's about everything else, that kind of stuff. And I think what you mentioned, IMDA is also very interested in this technology. They've come to see our studios, and also I think it's also for film production as well. Even for film productions, we are trying to also showcase this to as many people as possible, for them to adopt this in their next short films or productions. Because to us, if they do not come and experience for themselves, it's pointless watching Disney Plus over and over again, because you can't really envision how it's being done. And it's only through trial and error, like you said. It doesn't mean that the first one we do is going to be a success, but we need to trial and error, and we ourselves will then also learn about, okay, this works, this doesn't work, and how do we educate the content team person to work. I think one of the questions that people always ask, are the content people part of your pre-production process? Do they come in on the first day and say, yes, they have to? It's not like the green screen production whereby they are at the post. Let's shoot everything on green screen first and we fix everything in post. But right now for XR virtual reality environment itself, is everybody has to be here on day one to talk about the sets. How do you want to do this, from the camp directors to the content people? We have done a shoot for The Front Row Season 2 by Daniel Boy and AP Media itself at Anomaly Studios. So it was very interesting. They did a fashion show right here, that kind of stuff. But we realized that, hey, there's a rock here that didn't match, or there was causing some conflict in the production itself. So what did we do? We just tell the Unreal artist, can you move this rock away? Can you shift the lights over here? And for you all here, you can see all these LED bars over here. This was to simulate the sun coming from this in the virtual environment and create the whole effect of it. So those are the things that it's also a trial and error for both the creative people as well as the back-end content people at back-end. So it's really a very new technology, and it's only with the commitment to trial and error and try, be willing, in a way, be willing to fail. And I think the clients also need to understand that, because we are trying to push the edge of the boundaries. Nobody has crossed the boundary, or rather the boundary, we don't even know where is the boundaries or where we are going to be at this point of time. Without trying and error, you won't know where is the limit that we can achieve.
I think you raised a good point about the experimental nature of having new technology, and the importance of experimenting and pet projects and trying things out. And with trying things out brings failure. And with failure brings learning. So I'd like to take that question and ask the panel, and maybe starting with Yasha and Jeffrey, what would you say was the biggest failure you had, and what did you learn from that?
Well, maybe not exactly a failure. It's more like a challenge, maybe, because in Indonesia, when we talk about the challenges that we need to face, the internet infrastructure in Indonesia is not that widespread. Even for big cities itself, even the internet signal is not that great compared to when I was like traveling to Singapore. It's like you guys have strong signals almost everywhere you go. Like it becomes like one of the challenges that we need to understand when we deploy our projects for Indonesia, for our local market. So sometimes if we just do like a test project, we just deploy some app and we try out, and then we understand that some of the things cannot be seen properly in some areas, for example. So before we actually deploy the actual project, we need to understand all these hassles. So so we also need to understand how people want to receive all this information or all this experience that we want to offer to them. So some of our projects, like the one that we showed you at the beginning, the virtual store network thingy, it's in a way how we educate these people is, okay, guys, you face this problem, especially during the pandemic, that you may lose your job because of because of the pandemic. Then you need to find any additional income. So what you need to do is you may need to open your own stores and have your own income, for example, instead of you working for other people. But some people may not have the advantage of having products ready to sell. So what we do, we work with some well-established companies that allow these people to open their own branded virtual store, branded store, for example, with a very minimal investments. So, and with a very minimum investment, they just need to register, get verified, and then they suddenly becoming a franchise store owner of a well-established brand, but not a physical store, but it's more like a virtual store, for example. So we try to understand all this and try to minimize the risk and the failure. And for these people, although they're actually using AR and VR, to sell these branded products to their friends and families, they don't need to know that it's actually using AR and VR. It may be too scary for them. What they need to know that this is a tool, a very interesting tool that attracts people, come and buy products from them, and they can earn money from it. So it's more like a learning process that we need to go through. Yeah. Did you want to add on, Yasha?
Yeah, I think the challenge also is that because we're the one developing the augmented reality program and concept, but I think also the challenge is to promote it, getting people to download it and then also use it. I think when we're talking about application, what Jeffrey just explained, this is the application that we showed earlier, with the card, right? Is that we need to get as many people as possible to download it. I think downloading is also another challenge that we sometimes face. But we see that since the beginning of the pandemic, I think a lot of countries, a lot of nations are making the residents download certain applications to get around, to enter certain premises, to get in and out, to be tracked. So I think, and when you go to restaurants, you're also will be going to a certain website or going to be downloading a certain app to order some food. So well, hopefully that challenge will no longer be a challenge, and especially when the connection is becoming better and better with 5G.
Thank you. Perhaps the local panel would like to have a few words about the challenges or learning from failure.
I guess I have a failure. I can talk about a lot of failures, but one that takes a little bit of integrity. When you don't have to build something in AR or VR just for the sake of using the technology. I've had clients that I have done a project before with to please the client, knowing full as well that it could have been done with just a video, the same information, and it didn't provide a good experience for the end user. So that was kind of like a fault in my own integrity and ethics, so to speak, to actually take money when I knew it wasn't going to work. And so from that experience, I'm like, it's not going to work. I'm not going to do it. I don't want a poor experience for the people that we're building the products for, because that's not going to help our industry. It's not going to help them. So from now on, or from that project that was ultimately a failure for the consumer, is to make sure that it's a win-win-win, a win for the client, a win for the user, and then a win for us to be pushing the boundaries.
Thanks, Casie.
Yeah, I think that's very true. For us as well, sometimes if there's no requirement to do it in the XR environment, we will also tell them, say, no, don't do it in this way, because it's not about the money. It's just a matter of from where the clients come from. Basically, they just want to do a live shoot, that kind of stuff. For example, why build an entirely replica of your office where I can just go to your office to do the shoot? No, right? It's really, why do that? I mean, the whole process. A lot of people, the questions will always be, will it be cheaper to do it? I say it depends on how you define it, you see, like the content and why. So I think for us, our challenges is always to get people to understand what we are doing here. And then from there onwards, then we will go back to the drawing board, and then we will talk to them and say, okay, based on what you're talking about, I think we can provide the base platforms, and then from there we can bring in other elements. So, example, like now we're using Zoom, but sometimes we will say that if there's no inquiries, there's no interact with the audiences at home, perhaps YouTube is a better option, because YouTube gives you a higher resolution. I mean, I'm very sure some of you are looking at us in the lower resolution, because that's how the Zoom platform works, and that's something that we can't control on our side, that kind of stuff. So it really depends on trial and error and what is that's doable and not doable, that kind of stuff. So yeah, more of us from outside.
I just noticed that they're on the screen behind you.
For home audience, they are live. I mean, we can really see them. So this is where I'm glad you did that, you see. Because it shows that you basically when they are talking, although we have monitors in front to look at it, but they are live, we can say hi to you, and look at that kind of stuff. You see, I know you're working right now. So I think this is the fun part. The fun part that people can really interact. Of course, you can dance around that kind of stuff.
For me, right, I think one of I don't think it's a failure, but like something that we're still working on is that we want to. This is not really about the XR side, but like the behind the scenes of the behind the scenes of XR, which is like there is like a business process behind it and tech development behind it that I'm still trying to get a grasp of, because like I didn't study business nor marketing, so there's always this like idea that, oh, I need to be always pushing the tech, but there's always this like business side that I need to handle as well. So, and also another thing is maybe that as somebody who wants to scale the company, there must be this idea that I need to bring in some new person to fill my role as the production person or the technical person. So I guess it's really good that Republic Poly is doing all this to push for more people to enter this industry. And I think that's definitely something that is worth commending.
I keep telling my students what we teach them is the foundation, and they need to do all these experiments and their network to really to show what they can do. Portfolio is everything, I believe. And I think now might be a good time for us to open up questions to our audience, because we are using a live platform and we're using Zoom, and we'll see what questions we have from the audience that we can field here over the panel. Okay. Let's see if we have any questions. Okay, what would you give your younger self, what advice would you give your younger self before you start your career or journey in AR and VR?
Well, I can start first because I started this only 12 months ago. So there's really old self of me, that kind of stuff.
Your younger self, 24 months ago.
12 months, 24 months ago. Of course, previously we know about AR, VR, that kind of stuff, but it just wasn't in our business model itself. We work with external partners to bring it into the system, but because of what we are doing right now, we are literally forced into understanding how does AR element work, how do we create a 3D objects, how to bring it in here and interact with it, that kind of stuff. So I think it's very important for everyone to keep an open mind, even though you might not be using it at this point of time, but you just dabble with it, see what other people are doing, what the other industry people are doing, that kind of stuff, because you never know when will you come to use it, that kind of stuff. I mean, when we run campaigns for a couple of our projects, that kind of stuff, we have worked with AR companies. So when it came for us into extended reality itself, it was much easier for us to understand and being able to say, okay, I think this is how it works, that kind of stuff. And you don't have to really come from ground zero and understanding how is this 3D object in AR appear in front of me, but I don't see it here, that kind of stuff. So I think that is the important thing, to have an open mind to all the technologies around you. It may not work in your system right now, but it will definitely work maybe sometime in the future, or there'll be some requests for you to integrate. The good thing about it is that it's such an open ecosystem that we have right now, or we are trying to work out with everybody, that kind of stuff. One of these days, there'll be a question to integrate one technology into this technology itself, and having to know how it works, I think will help each other.
Yasha and Jeffrey, would you like to respond to that question?
Okay, let me start first. So, our younger self, our company starts in 2009. I think that's already pretty long. Then I was pretty young also at the time. So when we first started to to go into this path of specializing ourselves in augmented reality, because since the very beginning we already believe that this is one of the future technology, and then so that's why we always been consistently in this path till now. And then I think we are also we all feel at the company that we are already in the right track, because especially in the recent years we also noticed that a lot of big tech companies already started to popularize the use of augmented reality at certain level. As the other panel also say, we will get in touch with this technology in every level. May not be as as the one that you see on movies, but at a certain stage you will be exposed to this technology, and there will be more in the future, especially with the new connections, with even the better hardware. I'm sure AR glasses is getting more and more budget friendly for the customers, etc. And also with the new upcoming, technology that now a lot of big tech companies also mentioned, is all about the 3D shared space called the metaverse. The term metaverse becoming so it's such a hyped term nowadays, right? Especially since Mark Zuckerberg has already said that this is the new era of the internet, that everyone will have like a new virtual parallel world that's shared with everyone, and then you will have another ecosystem on the other side. So as you can see, I think a lot of these tech companies already start to prepare, the usage of big data, AR, VR, the use of blockchain technology, etc., and a lot of other technology into the other side, the digital side of things. So I think we feel that as of now, we still touching, we may only touch the surface of what this technology can do, but I think we are on the right track. So yeah, I think that's how I respond to the question. Yeah.
Thanks, Jeffrey. I have an interesting question from Joshua, I think I'd like to ask Jake and Chyi. The question is, what would you be investing in the next 12 months? Technology or something else?
I guess I will be investing in cryptocurrency.
I think you mean in terms of your business growth, not for your wealth growth necessarily on an individual level.
Yeah, I guess human resource would be something that's important to invest in now. For us, I think that we have reached perhaps this and we can't really push our tech further without doing further studies in the sense that we need to probably pick up a computer science course or another software to further what we do. So I think, I think knowledge is very important. I'm a big advocate of lifelong learning, and as an artist myself, like if I don't know something, I'll go and learn it myself. But I guess I don't really have the capacity now to learn so many different software. So yeah, hopefully I can find the time to do it.
I know exactly what you mean. I'm trying to learn Blender, and I've got UE5 installed, and it's just sitting there. I've not got time to really. Teaching takes a lot of time.
Me, but Casie, you have something to say?
Yeah, you want to talk about investment for the future?
Just take your money and invest it.
That was what you were saying. I thought you wanted to say something.
Invest in my company.
we can talk about this after the whole webinar and stuff. But for me, it's also the same. It's about human now. It's about the human who knows how to create the content, who knows how to use the hardware that we have. We are pretty much, like what you correctly say, we are pretty much put in most of the stuff that's required at this point of time. Investment in hardware is never ending. There will always be new things coming up, that kind of stuff. But with the human, my team, my very good and strong production team, who's trying out things every day, that kind of stuff. If they are not good with the tools, then we can buy the next Lamborghini, Ferrari. It doesn't go that fast because simply you don't know how to step on the accelerator, right? To put it in the analogy itself. So I think training the people coming up and training the next generation of people in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah, we're not expecting a fast result to say that I'm going to have a pool of talents that know how to do this whole VP thing in the next 3 to 5 months. I think that's not realistic. Is to really to educate, to share this technology workflow with as many people as possible in different technologies, in different industries that we might not even have think of at this point of time, and we see where it goes in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah, I think it's the mid to long term process that we are looking at to grow the human capital, if you can put it that way.
We've got time for one more question, which is a shame because the questions are flooding with all kinds of interesting things about the metaverse and about blockchain and AR and how they integrate, and specializations for XR. I think the question I'd like to ask is from Colin. He's asking something we've kind of touched on, is that not every project is suitable for XR. What would you say you look for to say this is a good project for XR? And anyone can join in, Jeffrey or Yasha, if you'd like to join in on this one, or perhaps the panel here.
I guess I'll jump in.
Yep.
I always like to think of what we can learn from our disabled friends, and use that as a starting point, whether that is using gesture interaction, what we learn from our deaf friends in order to communicate with each other, but to communicate with the machines. Whether that's understanding how a blind person uses the internet. How do they interact with the internet now? What will that look like with augmented reality? Or how can we build products for AR glasses or mobile or VR, learning from what we know that how they interact. But also the products that we can build for our disabled friends. For example, like our company, we're trying to solve the problem of building augmented reality glasses on prescription. So that's one of a disabled area. But also, our deaf friends. We were just speaking before. I'm like, what if I could sit here? You're wearing your glasses. I'm speaking Tamil. You don't speak Tamil, and I could close caption myself for you.
Okay.
Now, these are the types of really cool things that they're made for our disabled friends, but that's how you get the masses to use them, rather than, let's build something like big, but it doesn't work for somebody that has a disability. So I like to look at those types of utility and augmented intelligence that we can build for people.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is very true. With all of this technology, computer vision, machine learning, and how we can display these through immersive media and XR, there is really a brave new frontier, and we can learn a lot from not, maybe the things that the problems that really already exist are the best test bed for learning. With that, I'd like to thank you all for your participation in the panel. It's been a great discussion. I wish we could have more time to talk. Maybe there are other ways we can connect later on and field questions. At this point, maybe I can return to Mush to close the program for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Oh, we can do a high five.
Okay, real fast.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Desmond. Thank you to all our panelists for that engaging dialogue. You know, hopefully we can find a way of, you know, getting this conversation going again and to continue in some shape or form. So I'm sure many of our students, alumni, and members of public watching this webinar are keen to find out how they can also play in this space and get started in AR, VR. So here at the School of Technology for the Arts, we continue to offer short courses and part-time diplomas for anyone wishing to upskill. So if you get a chance to have a look at this QR code that takes you to some of the courses for a lifelong learning. So we have come to the end of this webinar. So on behalf of STA, Republic Poly, let me thank all the panelists from WRR, Ox Media, Cyril SG, Element XR for sharing their insight into this exciting world of extended reality. Of course, thank you to all of you for watching in. Some feedback always helps, so please spare a few minutes to complete the short survey. And on that note, thank you once again and have a good evening. Stay safe, everyone.